Data storage has evolved through the years. From floppy disks to CDs to memory cards, data storage is constantly advancing. Nowadays, people mostly store their data in flash drives and hard drives, and eventually even these will be replaced by new technology. There is no denying the importance of data storage. A problem with it, however, is that the technology is becoming obsolete. Soon, humankind might create more data than they can store. This is where DNA comes in. Scientists have discovered that DNA is a potential medium for data storage. They figured that if a digital file is essentially a code of ones and zeros, and DNA is basically just a code of A's, T's, G's, and C's, then they can manipulate DNA to store information. And as long as humans continue to read and write DNA, they will be able to decode this information. And the best part is that DNA will never go out of fashion. DNA storage isn't exactly new. This science has gained momentum over the last 5 years. Scientists from Harvard have successfully encoded a book in synthesized DNA. Another group have managed to translate all of Shakespeare's sonnets into DNA. Even Microsoft has made an investment in DNA data storage. However, all of these make use of artificial DNA, where data is translated into a DNA sequence that will then be synthesized afterwards. It has been proven that data storage in synthetic DNA is possible. But can we encode data in living organisms? Can we cut and paste data directly into their genomes? This is exactly what Harvard scientist Seth Shipman and his team did. Shipman and company have successfully encoded a GIF of a galloping horse into DNA and inserted those strands into the living microbes of E. coli. They used a section of its genome known as CRISPR, which is basically a gene editing technology that was invented billions of years ago as a way for bacteria to defend themselves against viruses. Through CRISPR, the bacteria grabs the DNA of any invading virus and incorporates it into their own genomes. This way, the DNA of the virus is archived, and the next time the virus invades, the bacteria recognizes it and sends out enzymes to cut apart its genetic code. The researchers took a GIF they wanted to encode and reduced it to pixels of 21 shades of gray, with each pixel then being assigned a specific codon. This converted the GIF into short DNA segments that look like the fragments of viruses. Frame by frame, this DNA sequence was introduced to the E. coli through electroporation, and the bacteria's CRISPR system was fooled into treating the GIF as an ordinary virus. It grabbed the fragments and archived them. So instead of storing the code for a virus like CRISPR typically does, it instead stored the code for the GIF. The researchers then left the bacteria for a week to allow it time to grow and divide into new bacterial cells. Shipman collected some of the bacteria and read out their genomes. He found out that the DNA for the galloping horse had successfully been spliced into E. coli's genetic code. He also discovered that after only a week, they were able to reconstruct the encoded image with 90% accuracy. Shipman deduced that more reads will entail more accuracy. The encoded GIF took up 2.6 kilobytes of storage. This is not a problem, however, as the storage capacity of DNA in total is said to be 1 zettabyte per gram. That's 711 billion floppy disks altogether. While patent applications on data storage in synthetic DNA do exist, there is no sign yet of any patents on storing data in living organisms. This makes sense as this research is merely a proof of concept for now. Shipman proved that storing data in living DNA can be done. However, he is far from what he wants to achieve. Ultimately, he hopes to turn cells into living recorders of information we don't already know. They could be turned into living sentinels to monitor environmental pollution, or they could also be programmed to record the early stages of cell development, such as in terms of diseases or brain development. According to Shipman, with this kind of research, the possibilities are endless.